Hey, Foot Clan, before we start today's show, I want to thank today's sponsor, Football Hall.
Oh, yeah.
Look, Football Hall has given you a monthly box of NFL, just amazing collectibles, amazing goodies from your favorite team, from other things like talking games, figures, all sorts of things, and it is a tremendous value every single month, giving you $75 of stuff for just $29, and they're going to save you $5 on your first order with Ballers5. That's footballhall.com, HAUL.com.
Welcome to the Fantasy Footballers Podcast, coming to you from the FantasyJocks.com studios with your hosts, Andy Holloway, Jason Moore, and Mike Wright.
Welcome in to another episode of the show.
It's the next episode.
It's the next episode. What are we at, 310 or something like that?
Who knows?
Who knows anymore? Welcome Thursday, November 10th, 2016. Also known as the day that my wife asked me to put up Christmas decorations.
Man, you're 9 days late.
Do you have your tree up?
Of course. November 1st, man. We get Halloween out of the way. We skip over Thanksgiving because we're putting the Christmas stuff up.
Wow.
It's the best time of year.
I don't disagree with you. And when I was at the Costco yesterday, I purchased a large tin of those holiday butter cookies.
See? It's the best.
It is the best. Well, it's time then, all right? What do you want for Christmas, Mike?
A fantasy championship?
What do you want for Christmas, Mike? Are you verified yet?
No.
That's all you need. That's all you need. If you
I have had the Twitter love has been amazing. The Twitter ribbing has been incredible.
It's been
I've had
spectacular.
a couple people reach out like, "Hey, have you tried this?" A couple people reached out and said, "Look, I got some people. I'm gonna talk to them." The Foot Clan are everywhere. They're plugged into many different channels. So
if you're
who knows what's happening?
If you're wondering why you haven't heard somebody go, Megalodon, it's because Jason's not with us this morning. He has some stuff going on, so it's a two-man show today. Myself and the unverified swine, Mike, the fantasy hitman. We're back with our Thursday episode, which means a lot. It means we've got news and notes, the fantasy forecast. Jason was kind enough to deliver his starts of the week, so we have all of our starts of the week.
Including boom, boom kicker of the week.
Oh, you don't want to miss that. And so it's going to be a good show today. Mike, I'm going to kick it off with a quick question. We're going to play a game of Who Am I?
Do it.
See if you can get this. Hint number one, I'm currently the wide receiver number 27.
Okay.
All right.
Wide receiver 27. All right.
Wide receiver 27. Hint number two, I think I just showed all the hints. All right. I'm currently 7th in the league in targets, yet I am 25th in receptions and 16th in receiving yards.
Okay, so we're talking a wide receiver who's getting bad targets, like an Allen Robinson type, where the volume is there, but it's just not quality.
You're on the right track.
Okay.
You're on the right track. So we have he's the wide receiver 27 and 7th in targets, but 26th in receptions. He's also 2nd among wide receivers in red zone targets, many of those in the end zone.
Okay. I'm formulating my answer here.
Okay. Do you want another hint or do you want to take a shot?
Let's give the Foot Clan another hint.
I only sit at 2 touchdowns on the year. The last one was from week number 5.
Okay. We're still working up to a guy. I know that he's getting tons of targets, but not scoring.
Let's put it this way. The magic still, it just hasn't been here this year.
Number 5, of course, always confirms what you're thinking. We got to be talking about Brandon Marshall.
We are Brandon Marshall, and that would be the Fitz magic that is not there thus far. He's the 27th wide receiver, 7th in targets. Generally, when you see those kind of statistics, you say something's got to give, right? He's got to return to form?
I think that this can continue to the rest of the season.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. That's an unfortunate thing. I I was expecting much bigger things from him, but also Mr. Ryan Fitzpatrick. And we'll talk about Fitzpatrick in the matchups today, too.
It's incredible in sports how you have these guys like Ryan Fitzpatrick, Derek Anderson. I mean, there's just it happens all the time where they're, an average to below average, maybe a little bit above average player. Then they just have this one magical season where everything goes right. You get maybe they avoid the interception. You have that Nick Foles year where you know that they're playing above their head, but it just keeps happening. So how do you not buy in and say, okay, well, this player has taken the leap to be they've gone from okay to now they're a very good player. But Ryan Fitzpatrick has descended back into the depths of mediocrity.
I was going to say of being like the 32nd ranked passer rating on the year or something.
It's got to be worse than that.
Is Carson Palmer in that category?
Of regression, of having that huge year?
Yeah.
I wouldn't put him there because we've seen several seasons of Carson Palmer, but we've talked about that all year, that something is wrong. I don't know if it's his confidence. I don't know if it's the carousel of receivers and Michael Floyd not showing up, John Brown being hurt.
I had a theory, or heard a theory about Bruce Arians, because remember Bruce Arians missed. He went to the hospital.
Yes.
And he had been sick, and apparently he had been diagnosed with some stomach things that are very exacerbated by stress. And the team hasn't been the same since that game, kind of. And so they wondered if, he can't coach the way he wants to coach right now or what it is. But I think something being wrong is the best summary. So before we get into the news, I want to remind you, find us on Twitter at the FF Ballers. Find us on YouTube. And look, go enter the Megalodon giveaway.
Megalodon.
It's easy. You just go to footclangiveaway.com. We're giving away a ton of signed NFL merch, some fantasy footballers gear. We're giving away some gift cards, and it is all just a way to say thank you to everybody listening to the show.
Does the end of that conclude with the Megalodon episode?
It is right around there.
The now annual Megalodon?
Because the Foot Clan giveaway, it lasts for a couple of weeks. And so that'll be right around when we do a Megalodon pre-Thanksgiving multi-hour monstrosity.
Look, we know that those bellies are going to be full. We want the brains full as well.
That's right.
Smorgasbord of information.
If we tell people to listen right after the pumpkin pie, they may hear only the first 10 minutes of the show. So we better get everything in early. So we also appreciate your reviews and support on iTunes. And again, really briefly, I just want to say thank you again for all the support you've shown our dear friend.
My goodness.
It's mind-blowing. Those of you that have gone to footclanhelp.com and supported Matthew, I heard from him yesterday. Obviously going through a lot of different things, but one of the words he used was crushingly beautiful, what has happened, and that you have helped the families in shock at your support. So thank you so much. Let's go ahead and get into the news.
News and notes from around the league.
Dougie.
Hallelujah.
I saw your tweet. Doug Martin returned to practice.
Oh, my guess who's returned?
Yeah, when you had Doug. Doug Martin returned to practice. Too early to tell if he's going to be cleared to play in Week 10 following the practice. Jacquizz Rodgers is still he just got out of his walking boot but didn't practice.
He's already doubtful, I believe.
All right, let's say you have to lock your lineup today, Mike. Who do you put in for the running back of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers? Is it still Peyton Barber?
I was going to say I really hope Doug Martin just takes
one more week.
Get your conditioning strong, my friend.
Isn't that funny how it changes? You want him back, but now that you hear he's back, you're like, whoa now. Whoa, don't really come back. Give it one more week, buddy.
Well, I say that because I have Peyton Barber on my roster.
So you're fine. Yeah, if you're in that situation, I guess you can get by.
If Doug Martin plays, then it's who do you go with? I mean,
right. This is what happened with Gillislee and McCoy. If McCoy was playing, you were stuck. If he's not playing, you knew you could roll Gillislee in.
Well, the answer that week when you didn't know if McCoy was going to play and then he did, the answer was neither.
Right.
So we don't want that. That's exactly what we do not want.
No, the answer was Reggie Bush.
Yeah, it was. But if Doug Martin plays, he's going to be – today's a huge day. Thursday's practice. Are the reports still glowing that he handled all the work Wednesday. His hamstrings responded well. So that's going to tell. If it's Doug Martin's active, that's probably where I'm going to go. If you're choosing between him and Barber.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Because we haven't even seen Barber give you one of those Jacquizz Rodgers weeks.
Correct. Yeah, Barber's he's totally a volume play this week.
A reminder, tomorrow we'll have In and Out on the show, so we'll give you the full rundown on injury reports so you can prepare for the weekend. Concussion reports. Spencer Ware passed the protocol.
Yep, he's good to go.
Mike Evans remains in the protocol but practiced in full and is expected to be cleared without an issue.
Yeah, he must be in the final stages.
Also notice he's number 1 on your wide receiver rankings this week.
Those are the initial rankings, but yeah, I love Evans.
So, and if you haven't seen those, just go to the website, thefantasyfootballers.com, click the rankings button, check them out. We modify them all week long, but right now we have the initial Week 10 rankings out if you need some decision-making help. All right, Mike McCarthy called Ty Montgomery a 3-down back.
What?
He says you have to get past his number, but he's a 225-pound physical player.
That's the reason why I don't believe this. It's because he wears the number 88.
Well, I mean, I think it kind of is, right?
No.
Okay.
He didn't come into the league as a running back.
No, he didn't. You're right.
If he was a 3-down back,
he'd be a 3-down running back.
What have you been doing for the last couple of years?
Yeah, that's a fair point. Although, could you say the same thing about like Oakland not playing Pryor at wide receiver? Whoops.
Well,
I know.
He was a quarterback.
All right, Carlos Hyde will continue to practice in a non-contact jersey. I think this is just trending into a sit again. Chip Kelly said he'll decide whether or not after practice on Saturday. So good luck on Sunday morning with that mess. Hopefully Hyde sits one more week if you have DuJuan Harris. Derrick Henry didn't practice, unlikely to play. Here's a big report. Pete Carroll said C.J. Prosise is going to play a lot this week against New England. I like him as a flex start. I do.
C.J. Goat size.
Oh, yeah. I'm so glad that's back.
It's time.
Are you burying the lead here, Kristen Michael? What do you do with him?
We actually got some people on Twitter like, what? Why? How was Kristen Michael not in keep trade cut? Kristen Michael, look, you know that I'm one of the original truthers, but I think it's time to move on from Kristen Michael. It's not happening. We do have a chicken or egg situation here to me for Kristen Michael. I know he's not been great, but they're giving him 8 to 10 carries a game. Like they're not committing to the running game.
That's why right now he is a touchdown-only play.
Right.
That's what I believe.
And let's say Rawls is back. I don't know that Rawls can run behind this offensive line. They are the worst line in the league when it comes to yards before contact. These guys are just getting buried in the backfield. We saw what happened to Adrian Peterson. Hall of Fame level Adrian Peterson with the Vikings the first couple games this week. If your line is letting defenders through and you're getting hit in the backfield, it doesn't matter how great you are. Todd Gurley, same exact situation. I believe the Rams are second worst in yards before contact. You can't get it done. That's why a guy like C.J. Prosise becomes interesting. Converted wide receiver, great hands, he was the hope of the most likely, hey, this guy's like David Johnson, similar path coming into the NFL. So I had excitement before the season for C.J. Prosise, and he's been hurt all year, so that excitement is going to build again now that the coach is ready to unleash him.
That take was great, and I think you're right on almost all of your points there. I mean, even if Rawls gets back, it's going to be a timeshare.
Yes.
And then a timeshare behind a bad offensive line.
And the timeshare could favor Prosise because they know they can't run.
All right, let's talk about Will Fuller. He's day-to-day game-time decision for Week 10. It's been a while since he's contributed to your fantasy team. I think you have a better option out there. Marcus Mariota suffered an ankle injury in Week 9, it was reported. Expected to practice and play, but just worth noting, it might limit him in the running game. Hunter Henry returned to practice on a limited basis, and Justin Houston for that Kansas City defense. Look, last year.
That's big.
Last year, if you picked up the Kansas City defense towards the back half of the year, you rode them through that 10-game winning streak, and they were dominant. And so Justin Houston is like getting back, he's getting back your Von Miller.
Yes.
He's getting back the pass rush. And you already have Tamba Ali and the others involved there. So I really like what that offers you as a defense owner.
Yeah, it does. If the Chiefs are available and you've been streaming, you say, oh, the Panthers are in town, or I said the Chiefs are going to Carolina. The Panthers offense shouldn't scare anybody, and the Chiefs with Houston are completely different.
Yeah, they are. All right, let's go ahead and I think it's time to get into the forecast. What do you think? Let's ask Jason.
Yeah, Jay, should we do the forecast?
Yeah. Megalodon.
Fantasy Forecast.
He's turned into Groot. That's all he can say now.
When the headphones fell off yesterday, it was a solid moment. I'm losing my mind.
Yeah.
All right, Thursday Night Football update. The Browns at the Ravens. Terrelle Pryor's not in the injury report. Roll him out there with confidence.
Excellent.
In one of my leagues, I have 4 players in tonight's game.
Well, I hope they're
Is that
Ravens.
good?
I hope they're Ravens.
I got Steve Smith, Terrelle Pryor, Justin Tucker.
Oh, yeah, that's not terrible. I mean,
And then I was thinking about Dixon. Would you start Dixon or Prosise? Asking for a friend.
ooh, man.
I'm leaning Prosise.
I would lean Prosise as well.
It's a half-point league.
Yeah, I mean, this.
Of course, I am sitting here telling you yesterday that I believe Kenneth Dixon will out-touch
And it could be.
Terrance West. It's scary. Scary. Where we?
Fantasy football, a lot of the times, is a game of probability. You think, okay, this can happen here, but is it a more than 50% chance? Do I want to take that play? So you know that Prosise is going to touch the ball.
You didn't even mention the new jersey on the wall.
I don't think I had to.
We got a nice signed Arian Foster jersey.
That thing just glows.
From Pristine Auction. Mike surprised me with it yesterday.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I look at this jersey with Arian Foster on the wall, and I can see fantasy points that are just falling out of it from days gone by.
When fantasy was great.
All right. Reminder, teams on bye this week as we get into the matchups: Buffalo, Detroit, Indianapolis, and Oakland. So don't start those guys.
And
they will not produce.
And next week, Atlanta, Denver, the Jets, and the Chargers on bye.
And then none in Week 12, and then 2 teams in Week 13 because that makes sense.
What are you doing?
Cleveland and Tennessee are both Week 13. So if you have playoffs in Week 13, and you've got Terrelle Pryor, DeMarco Murray, Mariota.
It's NFL.
Yeah.
Look, we are important to your
Fantasy
business.
football players.
We are
Unite.
important. Yeah, come on. Roger. Roger.
Roger. All right.
Sounds like a Sesame Street guy.
Let's start with the aforementioned Chiefs at the Panthers. The Panthers are 3-point favorites in this game, a 44.5-point over-under. We expect Alex Smith and Cam Newton to face off and do what?
Oof, man! Look, the Houston upgrade. If he is indeed going to play, I mean that's trouble for Cam Newton.
You think week 1 back though? I don't know if I worry about it as much the first week he's back on the field.
Possibly. I mean, he could just be used situationally, and then he's going to give all the gas and go after Cam Newton, who's been getting beat up this season. Cam Newton he's still fine play because he runs nice baseline of points for you. I'm not.
For a second, I thought you did a Jason there. You go, he's really good because he runs nice. I didn't know where you were going with the baseline of points, but
Alex Smith, I guess he's a fine stream this week. The Panthers defense 29th against the pass.
They've been very good against the run, not so good against the pass.
And I will not let that stop me or hinder me from firing up Spencer Ware.
That's what I was going to ask.
No, I maybe you don't expect a top 5 week, but I think Spencer Ware is just so incredibly talented. He's a 3-down guy. Char West is simply the backup. Will come in when Spencer Ware says, "Hey, I need to take a little break." So come in here and take some snaps, and then Spencer Ware will be back out.
I believe Spencer Ware is leading the league in average yards per touch, overall touch. Yeah, I believe so. So we talk about the Panthers' passing defense not being good, but Jeremy Maclin, Tyreek Hill, Chris Conley, Albert Wilson.
Albert, it's the bird alert. Maclin might miss,
right?
And Albert Wilson will slide right into Jeremy Macklin's position.
But I'd still probably start Tyreek Hill over Albert Wilson because they use Hill in more creative ways.
They do. I mean, Maclin's the more targeted position.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if I have to go between the two of them, I would probably play Albert Wilson.
Well, in sneak peek here, the start to me on the passing side is Travis Kelce in this game. Travis Kelce's put up a few consistent good games. He missed a quarter last week due to the ejection, but still had a decent game. The Panthers' defense averages 3 sacks per game, which is 4th in the league. And that puts, I think, Alex Smith in that position of get the ball out quick, find your sure-handed wide receiver or receiving option. Without Maclin, it's Kelce above all, in my opinion.
And I think Kelvin Benjamin is a solid play. I know that the Chiefs' passing defense is like right about in the middle. I think this is a game where Kelvin Benjamin can exploit some matchups.
Okay. And the Chiefs, they've been, right in the middle, like you said. All right, let's move on to the Texans, the Jaguars. Okay. Not a high-scoring projection from Vegas. Jags are
Vegas. Look,
1.5 point dogs at home.
We got Brock Osweiler and Blake Bortles, and you set the under at 42.5.
Yeah,
that is very, very accurate. I mean, this is who can stink the least.
Blake Bortles has been getting it done in garbage time.
But
the Texans' D has only given up 18 receptions a game. So,
but I ponder this is the question. If Brock Osweiler is the opposing quarterback, can there even be garbage time?
No, probably not.
Or is it just garbage?
It's just
game?
all of it is garbage time.
But they're not trailing.
This isn't another example. I mean, Houston's leading this division with unimpressive play, and they're probably going to win this game unimpressively and just continue to lead. So,
look, and there's guys in here that I'm okay with Fedorowicz.
Yeah, he's in my top 12 this week.
And look, Hopkins, Robinson, you're still gonna play these guys. I think a bigger question in this game, Chris Ivory.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do you make anything of last week or buy into the
over 100 yards on the ground? The usage split between him and Yeldon was a little strange. I'm talking situationally when they decided to go with Yeldon.
Yeldon got into the end zone last week.
That's what I mean. I thought that was you paid Ivory a bunch of money to be that guy.
Well, I think he got into the end zone on a screen pass. So.
Oh, was that okay?
Yeah.
All right. But it was so I'm not very excited to throw any of the Jaguars running backs in.
No, I don't have a lot of confidence rolling them out there. Ivory got the majority of his yardage on a big run, and so I like Lamar Miller in this game.
Sure.
The run defense for the Jags has struggled. I wouldn't play Bortles and chase garbage time. This is just too good of a defense.
Yeah, I completely agree. So before we move on to the Broncos and the Saints, Foot Clan, we want to thank today's sponsor, Football Hall, a monthly subscription box. And I'm telling you, that is loaded with NFL collectibles, NFL goodies. If I came up to you and I said, hey, I'm going to trade you $75 worth of stuff, but you only have to give me $29.
I would say sure.
You'd say, you're a bad trader, but I'm going to accept
Right.
your trade. That's what Football Hall is able to do with all of their connections. They're making it happen at footballhall.com. Every month I get the email, the tracking number comes in. My kids get excited. I get excited. I don't know who's more excited though, me or the kids for the Football Hall.
It's probably you, knowing your love of memorabilia.
You cut right through me.
Yes.
You see it in my core because I love Football Hall, collectible figures, McFarlane figures. If you fire up the YouTubes, you can see them all over our set. Exclusive bobbleheads, games, cards, and of course, items from your favorite team. When you sign up, you let football know, hey, this is my team, and they get you team swag every month. That's why there is a Patrick Peterson plush who watches over me as I work in my home office.
A Patrick Peterson plush?
Absolutely, the PPP.
Yeah.
Getting it done. And look, they're giving the Foot Clan $5 off their first order with the promo code BALLERS5. Head over to footballhall.com. That's footballhaul.com and get ready because you're going to Scrooge McDuck dive into just a plethora smorgasbord of NFL amazingness.
Oh, I love it. And I'm like you. I look forward to getting it every single month. All right. I also want to thank another sponsor supporting this independent podcast. We're talking about the 5-4 Club. Mike just talked about being hooked up on a monthly deal. Look, they hook you up for $60 a month, and you get clothing, and you actually look good. You don't have to go shopping. How great is that? It's the only way that you can get their brand as well. You cannot get 5-4 brand gear anywhere else. They have they pretty much handle making you look good because you go on there. It takes 2 seconds, an easy sign-up process, and you go in and you personalize your style preferences. It's awesome. It helps you build your wardrobe. You get amazing clothes every single month. They're always in season, a great style. This is stuff that I don't know how to do, but they provide those style advice and recommendations. So if you're curious about how awesome 5-4 Club is, go to 54club.com, use the promo code BALLERS, and sign up and check this out. I said you get hooked up for $60 a month, but if you sign up right now, you get 40% off the first month and a pair of sunglasses. So that's a $75 value on top of everything. You also receive an exclusive collaboration capsule with iconic menswear designer Mark McNary. So use the promo code BALLERS for 40% off your first month of 5-4 Club packages and the pair of sunglasses that ends at the end of November. And we thank 5-4 Club for sponsoring the show.
Yes, thank you.
Now let's talk about one of the great something gotta give battles of the week. The Denver Broncos head to New Orleans and take on the Saints. Vegas understands there's going to be some points put up in this game. 49 point over-under.
Because Vegas knows that when
they're in Louisiana.
When a defense travels to Louisiana, you know they're filling up on those beignets.
Oh,
it slows you down.
Have you been to
I've never been.
New Orleans? I've been one time, and you're not selling it wrong. I mean, it's good food. Good food. So, look, does Drew Brees get buried in the rankings or not in this game against the Broncos? Because the tradition is to bury your quarterback against the Broncos. Even last week, right? Now, we've had some quarterbacks succeed against the grain. But last week, Derek Carr wins the game, plays well, does not play well enough for fantasy owners, does not throw a touchdown. The Broncos, we know they have the best passing defense in the league, and they've only allowed 10 points per game overall. So, I mean,
that's incredible.
Where's the margin here for Drew Brees?
And you talk about
and their offense, they score 22 a game. That's
exactly.
They're the leaders.
Something's got to give here. Right now, I have Drew Brees at 3. I think I'm going to move.
Or as Jason would say, Drew Brees.
I'm going to move him down a little bit here because I think that Oakland has really set up a game plan here, a game script that other teams will try to follow. And it's not that other teams haven't done this, but Oakland said, we're just going to smash your faces in with the running game because you can't stop it. And they look at the Broncos defense, say, hey, number 1 defense in the league, what are you going to do? And then they can't do anything. And now you have Derek Wolfe is hurt. Aqib Talib is likely still out. I mean, there's some holes. There's some problems for this Broncos defense. I think that, but Drew Brees at home is still a play. I'm not benching home Drew Brees because of the Broncos.
Okay. I am not either. I know you and I have him higher in our rankings than Jason. Jason has taken the approach, which could be absolutely right, of Drew Brees struggling against this Denver defense. It's a weird one to do, but this is actually my
Andy's almost upset of the week.
Yes, the Broncos are 2.5 point underdogs in this matchup.
Is that true?
It is. It is. Let me verify it here as well, just so I don't miss it. Yeah, they are 2 point underdogs on the lines that I'm looking at, and 2.5 in our system.
That has to be their first underdog matchup.
The reason I'm going with Denver in this game is it's just the numbers, the Saints' defensive numbers, 19th against the run, 32nd against the pass. I saw both of you guys had Emmanuel Sanders very high. I think you both have him at 7 so far in your initial rankings.
Yeah, I like
I've got
Sanders
D. Thomas
and
very high. Look, last week the Saints gave up a lot, almost 400 yards, to Colin Kaepernick. Colin Kaepernick is not the wizard of the quarterback position, and neither is Trevor Siemian, but he's going to be able to do enough against the Saints. And I don't know if the Saints can keep up against the Denver defense. They might be able to score 21 points, but that might not be enough. That's what I think. So I'm going to take Denver in this game. I think it's going to be a very interesting one for fantasy owners. I want to know what you're doing with the Ingram Hightower stack, because Ingram obviously came back, performed last week. Hightower got a lot of carries. Coaches came out this week and said, look, we're still going to ride the hot hand. Can you start them?
Can you start them? Absolutely, because I'm going to speak on them a little bit later in our next section.
Are you really?
I am.
On the starts of the wing.
Yeah. Stick around.
All right. What do you do with Devontae Booker and Kapri Bibbs? There had been rumblings that Kapri Bibbs could get more action. I've looked around. I see most experts favoring Booker heavily in this matchup to kind of get it together.
And that's exactly where I fall. Kapri Bibbs had the amazing catch. Booker was still the guy. He's dealing with the shoulder injury. Another week to kind of heal up here. I don't know. Kapri Bibbs, undrafted, floated around the league, has gotten on the roster because of a multitude of injuries for the Broncos. I'm not saying that those things happen. The NFL misses on some guys, but I think that Booker is by far the more talented running back who will get the primary snaps, and he's a 3-down guy.
Are there other stories from this game that you want to get into?
No. Fleener is Barfy tight end with upside as always. And, I mean, Virgil Green was getting a little bit more involved in the passing game. Had a couple drops last week, so his stat line should have been better, but I'm probably still avoiding him.
All right. Let's go ahead and move on to the Rams and the Jets. Look, Ryan Fitzpatrick, we talked about him earlier. He is 36 out of 36 in passer rating with just a 67.2. The league average is 90, so he's been atrocious, and it affects everybody on that team. It affects Brandon Marshall the most. I love both defenses in this game. I love them. It's not even a 40-point over-under. This is going to be a mess out there. The Keenum Fitzpatrick interception fest. Those are the top 2 interception-throwing quarterbacks in the league.
That is why I was laughing. As we started the show, I thought, well, Brock Osweiler, Blake Bortles, it can't get any worse than that.
Nope, it can. Not to mention, Fitzpatrick is hurt. Like, it's still being reported he's going to play, but it's like...
We're going to get some B. Petty up in there.
Well, look, I wish I could...
brother.
Can you actually... Do you have any leagues where you can start DBs as a wide receiver? Because I might just pick some and go for that pick 6 number. But... watch the game be just a well-oiled machine with 60 points on the board.
I will say, I don't hate Kenny Britt in this game. I know Case Keenum is a turnover master, but Kenny Britt has been getting it done. He had a down game in a terrible matchup a couple weeks ago, but the Jets defense, they're not stopping people in the passing game. So Kenny Britt, Lance Kendricks, I mean, these are guys that I think they're start worthy this week.
When you have 46 pass attempts last week, and the potential for the Rams to be trailing in this game, which, the Jets are favored.
Is it possible to have both teams trailing? Has that ever been done?
All right, I thought you were going to say neither team is favored, but it's also not a pick 'em. They're just both not favored.
They're both dogs.
Yeah, they're both. Oh, the Rams and Jets are both underdogs this week. What if the money's on the tie? Maybe that's what you go for. We've had enough of those this year. Look, you're starting Brandon Marshall. You're starting Matt Forte. I don't see a lot of other prominent fantasy questions. You're starting Gurley. I mean, these aren't decisions that you just have to temper your Marshall expectations at this point. But you heard the numbers. He's still being targeted in the red zone and in the end zone. He's a big guy. When you wish upon a star, he may catch one.
Man, I was going to say Ajayi had a pretty solid game against the Jets, but the Miami offensive line is light years ahead of what the Rams are dealing with right now.
All right. The Falcons and the Eagles.
Finally.
This is the opposite of that. Carson Wentz, they're taking the training wheels off lately. He had, I believe, 340-something yards against New York.
They need to put him back on.
Put him back on. 50-point over-under in this game.
Soon.
It's also a pick-em game in Philly. I'm looking forward to this one. Look, you go through all the big names. What do you think of, you're starting Freeman, you're starting Julio. What do you think about Gabriel and how he's been performing lately?
Yeah, he's
Do you start Sanu or Gabriel?
I would still go with Sanu.
Okay.
Taylor Gabriel's in the vein of like the Kenny Stills where you're hoping there's that one big play. And could it happen? It could. I mean, but the Eagles defense has been solid as a unit on the year. 6th against the pass. So it could happen, but I would look elsewhere.
So here's the question. Not solid against the pass is the Falcons defense. 31st against the pass, giving up 2.6 touchdown receptions per game.
That's rough.
So I think Carson Wentz can be played in this game.
Yes, yeah. I'm joking about the training wheels.
And, Sproles, Jordan Matthews, and Ertz. Would you start them all? Would you start Ertz over, Fleener?
Because of the matchup?
Because of the matchup. Ertz had a very good week last week, the best one he's had since, I think, week 1, maybe his entire year.
Man.
13.7 fantasy points last week, 8 for 97.
I'm okay with it.
And are you confident in starting Sproles as a RB2?
Yeah, Sproles is an RB2. Ryan Matthews is touchdown-only leagues. And Jordan Matthews been a wild ride with Jordan Matthews, where the first couple weeks you thought you had struck gold. Then he was a guy you wanted to drop. Then he came back to, I can start this guy. So this is a good matchup here. I'm fine playing Jordan Matthews with confidence.
Last question for those looking at those Barfy tight ends. Is Austin Hooper a consideration? Last week he scored a touchdown, 3 for 46.
Yes.
On 6 targets.
He is. Look, when I'm looking at my Barfy tight ends.
It's a big bucket.
It
smells bad, too.
Yeah, you don't want to be around there very long. So what I like to do, find that high over under. 50 points.
I feel like it's one of those spit buckets like the one in Back to the Future.
A spittoon?
A spittoon. Where every week you play that tight end and then you walk into the saloon and you just spit that tight end right back in the spittoon and move on to the next one.
Yeah, that's a very fair thing. But look, 50 points is what Vegas is saying. A lot of scoring opportunities. If I'm streaming a tight end, that's what I want. And Austin Hooper has shown flashes this season. And Matt Ryan is on fire and showed that he likes to throw touchdowns to his tight end.
A 50-point over-under means there's going to be points on the board.
Let me in on it.
And you can get in on Hooper. Scuba-da-doo-ba-da-doo. You still don't remember Mr. Hooper from Sesame Street?
No. Because I didn't watch Sesame Street.
You didn't? Because you had cable.
Yeah.
Oh.
I watched the Disney Channel, bro.
I did not have cable, and I was jealous.
I watched Legends of the Hidden Temple and Guts and Rugrats.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of that.
My life was complete.
I watched the Sesame Street and what was that? 3-2-1 Contact.
I was going to say,
I need some 3-2-1 Contact shout-outs out there from anybody who watched that show.
Well, I was going to make a Mr. Wizard joke.
There were math detectives inside my show. Math detectives. That's what I had. Public television.
Look, I could have been very interested in that as a kid. I love math.
Bears, Buccaneers. Our final matchup we'll review today. We'll get to the rest tomorrow because we want to get into the starts of the week, give you some names, guys that we really like. So the Bears, they take on the Buccaneers. To me, and I could be wrong, Vegas has it at a 45.5 point over-under, a pick'em game.
Give me the over.
See, that I get it. Give me the over.
I want it.
Here's what I think, and I'm just throwing it out there. I think this is a trap game for offensive pieces of the Tampa Bay, for the Winstons of the world, for Barber. Other than Evans, I am not excited about starting these guys. I know we like Winston for the year-end schedule, but I think the Bears' defense is underrated. They are in the upper half in both run and pass defense, and I think they are the type of team that will make Winston make mistakes.
That's fair.
So I just am not as excited as maybe Vegas is or others are about this matchup for Winston. If he's your quarterback, you probably got to roll him out there. Certainly if you have him stacked with Evans. I'm just tempering my expectation. On the other side, though, I mean, the Buccaneers defense.
They're good at playing your fantasy players against them.
Right. They've allowed passes of 20 or more yards on 37 of 285 attempts, which is the most in the league. And Alshon Jeffery, he's averaged 16.2 yards per reception, which is third best in the league. That is a complimentary sandwich of fantasy points.
Yes.
So Alshon Jeffery, love him this week.
Love him.
Hint, hint, he's coming up in the starts of the week.
Yeah.
Zach Miller, I love this week. Jordan Howard, I love this week. Jay Cutler, I'm okay if you stream him this week.
Yeah, like I said, I have higher hopes for the Buccaneers than you do. Certainly, Winston he'll make some mistakes.
This game being in Tampa makes a big difference.
Yes.
Because if they were in Chicago, I think I would lean even more heavy towards him having a struggle there. Being in Tampa, I could definitely see Winston coming out and being able to do enough to help you. I consider starting the Bears defense. I think there might be enough mistakes to get by. They've been a good defense.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with it.
All right. Well, that is it for the matchups we're reviewing today. The rest will be tomorrow, along with In and Out and a number of other. We got DFS segment tomorrow.
Hopefully, Marcus.
Mr. Chris Meany?
No, Mark. Why did I say Marcus? Is there a Marcus Meany?
I think there is. I think there's a Marcus Meany out
Well,
there.
if Marcus Meany is available,
We'll
no,
do.
just kidding.
No.
Hey, yeah, we're gonna get a hold of Chris Meany here for some DFS.
All right, let's move on to the starts.
Starts of the week.
All right, it's time to give you the guys that we like a lot.
Yep.
All right, so Mike, kick it off. Quarterback start of the week.
Look, was this guy Jason's stream? It might have been, because I remember saying something about grab the Febreze. So let's double up. Grab even more Febreze.
That's fine. We started Kaepernick last week. You're fine. Go on.
Well, I'm saying because I don't want my car to smell like cigarettes.
Yeah? You got Jay Cuddy in there, don't you?
Smoking Jay Cuddy. Look, he's
Just talked about that game.
He's finally back after missing. He had pretty extended absence there. His first game back, tough matchup against Minnesota, and he looked perfectly fine. He looked good. Now he gets to take on Tampa Bay, who was allowed, get this, in the last 2 weeks, the Tampa Bay defense has allowed 857 yards and 8 passing touchdowns.
Wow.
In 2 weeks. I mean, that is outrageous. I know that you had the Oakland overtime game in there, but still, I mean, that is some bad defense being played by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I'm throwing in Jay Cuddy. My stream of the week was Trevor Siemian, but I wanted to make sure that we get the name Jay Cutler, the exposure that it deserves. If you are struggling at the quarterback situation, I know that stinky man Jay Cutler is on your waiver wire.
All right, Jason's start of the week at the quarterback position is Dak Prescott taking on Pittsburgh at home. In Pittsburgh. 50-point over-under. He likes Dak this week. I don't blame him.
Yeah, Chase.
It's a pretty good start.
Big Ben at home, much better. And Dak has been extremely consistent and very safe for fantasy purposes.
I'm going to go with Carson Palmer. The time is now for Carson Palmer. Off the bye week, San Francisco is a sieve on defense. They've given up 3 touchdowns in each of their last 2 games to the quarterback. And by the way, I think like the previous 5 before that, at least 2. You know, you're talking Jameis and Brees in the last 2. I just think it's the opportunity that Carson needs. This game is in Arizona. This is their chance to kind of, this is by far the biggest line of the week. The 13.5-point favorites over San Francisco. This is the week for Carson Palmer to right the ship. We're talking John Brown, Larry Fitzgerald, J.J. Nelson, David Johnson out of the backfield. I think it's going to be a great game for Palmer. And this is somebody that you need maybe a pat on the back, a little push to start.
Yeah, the confidence push. I don't mind it. Jason's running back is Jordan Howard. We expressed our excitement with the Bears matchup.
Sure.
I don't mind Jordan Howard.
Coming off a great week.
At all. My running backs, I went with a combo last week. And I'm bringing the combo back.
Combo.
Combo! Timmy Hightower, Mark Ingram. Denver has allowed 99-plus yards the last 5 weeks.
That is a bold start of the week to start a tandem against Denver.
Listen, they've allowed 99-plus yards the last 5 weeks, including 215 and 3 last week to the Oakland Raiders. We're talking Derek Wolfe is hurt. I mentioned Aqib Talib likely out. Last week, Mark Ingram, 17 touches. Tim Hightower, 24 touches. Sean Payton's going to feed them. He's a good offensive mind.
Sure.
I think he will say, wow, Oakland was able to get it done on the ground. That's how they are exploitable. That's how you can beat the Denver defense. He loves – look, Sean Payton,
he loves to run the ball.
Well, there are some things in life that Sean Payton loves more than his own children. And that's Tim Hightower for some reason. He loves Tim Hightower more than anything.
You know, we should love Tim Hightower.
Oh, I do.
If you go back in time,
I do love Tim Hightower, but I like Mark Ingram so much. That's why
Yeah.
it's like, I don't want to hate you, Timmy.
Yeah.
Because I love you so much from the Cardinal days.
From the Cardinal days.
But I think that both of these guys are startable, and they're going to get their touches.
All right, you might not need the push, but my start of the week at the running back position to go along with these guys' other starts is Lamar Miller. Jacksonville's given up 5 touchdowns to running backs in the last 4 weeks. I think he has a great opportunity to get into the end zone. They need to lean on him with what Brock Osweiler is dealing with confidence-wise. Love Lamar Miller.
Brock Osweiler's dealing with some problems.
My wide receiver start of the week, I pumped the brakes on him yesterday. So understand that I believe that this is one of the last big opportunities for him in this role. But it's Ty Montgomery. He was on a snap count last week. We saw him out of the backfield. He's their best option out of the backfield right now until James Starks gets back on the field.
It could be this week.
For Starks?
Yes.
Yeah, but I still think that's why I'm saying I think this is the last real big opportunity for Montgomery, where he gets big running back reps against Tennessee. Tennessee's defense has been okay, but I like Montgomery just from a volume play, especially catching passes out of the backfield as well. Jason's start of the week plays tonight. Steve Smith Sr. against Cleveland. I like that.
So if you're asking if Jason is afraid of Joe Hayden, who shut down Des Bryant, clearly he's not. Because he's going with Steve Smith.
Yeah. All right. And Mike, who do you have at the wide receiver?
Love that Bears game. Alshon Jeffery. We talked about the 857 and 8 that the Tampa Bay defense is allowed to quarterbacks. But how about this? Vernon Hargreaves, he's the rookie DB. In the last 2 weeks, he's allowed 19 receptions, 298, and 1 in 2 weeks.
That's a lot of yardage.
Shout out to my man, Jeff Ratcliffe from Pro Football Focus for firing up that stat. It's unbelievable. I already loved Alshon. Then this is just solidified that Alshon is a great play. Jay Cutler targets him. I expect him to feast.
All right. Tight end start of the week. I'm going with Travis Kelce. I mentioned him earlier. I think he is the number 1 and maybe number 2 target for Alex Smith this week against Carolina. Jeremy Maclin hurt, may play, may not play. I think he'll be out there, but he's just going to be limited. Carolina is struggling massively against the tight end position, including 8 for 121 against the Rams tight ends last week, including Lance Kendrick's big game. Travis Kelce can get it done. And if they're pressuring Alex Smith, he's going to be fed the rock. Assuming he doesn't get thrown out again.
I'm just now noticing Jason's tight end.
Yeah, we're back in that game, huh?
No, we're not just back in that game. We have literally started the entire Bears offense here.
Zach Miller is Jason's tight end start of the week.
I feel very confident in these things, but this cannot end well when we're starting all the Bears.
Look.
Or can it?
Can it? Yeah, Zach Miller's been great. I love that start by Jason. So Kelce, Zach Miller, and Mike, looks like you're going back to the Kendricks well.
Lance Kendricks, 5+ receptions each of the last 3 weeks, including 7 receptions the last 2. The yardage has increased each of those 3 weeks. Kendricks is emerging as a legitimate threat. Finally, after years of waiting for him.
Who mentioned Lance Kendricks very early in this season?
I assume you mean yourself.
Yes, I did. And you can go back to the tape. I talked about Kendricks and the fact that he, it's the Britt and Kendricks show there.
After Cook left.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, after Cook. I just said he's still a barfy tight end.
Shh,
Don't get me wrong.
Yes.
I'm just saying there's enough potential there. I've seen enough targets to know he could be okay. So this week you like him.
Yes, I do. Well, if you're looking in that spittoon and you got to put your hands in it, you might as well grab Lance Kendricks.
All right, let's move on.
Jason Moore's ironclad, locked and loaded, 100% guaranteed boom boom kicker of the week.
This is ridiculous.
Still really, really, really like that segment.
Boom kicker.
Jason spent most of the last 3 days studying kickers extensively. He dove into everything from leg angles to wind speed, mechanics, cleat sizes. He dove deep. This is what he does. If there's one thing we know about Jason, it's that he knows kickers. Kickers. He loves them. He would love an all-kicker league.
Hey, boom, boom. Matt Bryant of last week was came up huge.
So this week, Jason Moore's ironclad, locked and loaded, 100% guaranteed boom boom kicker of the week is Justin Tucker.
Look, I love it. This, until proven wrong, the Thursday night favored team, I'm playing their kicker.
Yes.
It seems ridiculous, but maybe it's the short week. You can't finish a drive. Maybe defenses are more tired. It's just working.
All right, that is it for today's show. You can check out those starts of the week. They'll be on the website as well, thefantasyfootballers.com. We have a vast article section of the website. You can get involved there. Definitely, if you're on the website, if you subscribe to the newsletter, we'll send you all those articles once a week so that you have them for reference.
We have the QB1 primer for this week. Just went up. My man Kyle B.
Delivering the goods.
And look, this was a coincidence. Just he's got some affection here for Smoking Jay Cuddy as well, and he referenced that the line of how bad their defense has been. So
it's because Smoking Jay's cool. He's a cool cat. All right. Also, thanks again to 5-4 Club for sponsoring today's show. If you hate shopping, let 5-4 handle making you look good. If you're curious about it, go to 54club.com. Use the promo code BALLERS, and you get 40% off your first month to try it out and a free pair of sunglasses. That's promo code BALLERS for 40% off the first month of 5-4 Club packages and a pair of free shades, which I'm sure Jay Cuddy would wear.
Well, yeah. Well, Jay Cuddy wears sunglasses at night for sure.
Yes.
Full Corey Hart.
Yeah, he may wear them occasionally on the field too. That's the interception issues.
And you know, he wears the shades, and he does the definitely does the 1980s where he looks down. You know, like
oh yeah,
you slide the sunglasses ever so slightly.
He was in Top Gun. Did you know that? He was actually in. He was the Iceman.
Don't mess around with the man in shades.
Yes.
Oh, no.
So that is it for today's show. Jason Moore himself, the Megalodon, will be back tomorrow. Make sure you enter the Megalodon giveaway. FootClanGiveaway.com. Thanks for tuning in, listening, subscribing. We'll catch you on Friday.
Yes, and look, the JoinTheFoot.com exclusive episode is going to happen here in mere moments.
Don't forget Fantasy Jocks.
Of course, where winners go for fantasy football winnings and swag. Promo code FOOTBALLERS.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Fantasy Footballers Podcast. Join our fantasy football community on JoinTheFoot.com and follow us on Twitter @TheFFBallers.